Brooklyn.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud!
Behold the power of magnetism! What would your finishing maneuver be called?
Circumcision.
Follow the process.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast where we review every segment of Raw and give you the wrestling news of the week. My name is Turbo Tony and we're here with the rated M superstar, Matt Marsander.
That's why we need Edge back, even if it's just for once.
Or just so we can hear Tony Chimmel break his voice on Superstar
That's it.
one more time. Superstar! Did you like my little break of my voice there? Yeah?
I did.
Yeah, brilliant.
Well placed.
How are you doing this week, Matt?
Yeah, can't really complain. Edge yourself?
Yeah, well, normally I should be happy. It's we have like a heat wave over here in Ireland.
Oh yeah.
The problem is I don't really like heat that much. So
I know your pain because we've been struck with it as well.
Yeah.
Fortunately, today's been quite good for a change.
Yeah. Well, today's been bad for us over here. It's been the hottest, and apparently we're getting it for 2 more weeks, which I should be happy about. But as I said, I don't do well in the heat. But regardless, it should be fun anyway. Bit of wrestling news this week that changes our plan for the week. We had 9 releases on WWE, and we're going to talk about them. We originally were going to do our Superstar Spotlight on Trish Stratus, and we are still going to do that, but it's going to be next week.
It's got on delay.
Yeah, we essentially got 9 mini Superstar Spotlights in our news this week, so there you are. You've got that as your topic of the week. We're going to go through all of them, guys, and as you would have heard the intro there, there's a certain guy that we talked about not too recently, and we thought he might be in the company for forever. But
He would never have left.
Yeah, the streak is over.
Forever dodging the bullet.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, before we get started as well, I just want to say thank you to the new subscribers that we had this week. It's always good to see the subscriber count hitting up. And I'd like to thank you guys because, I tell you what, looking through the stats of the videos, I can tell you guys are listening to the videos all the way through, and obviously you're enjoying it, and the audience playback times average is fantastic, so I'm really glad that you guys are listening and you're sticking with it and you're enjoying it.
Sort of coming and going,
Yeah, and so it's good to hear that all of our views, which are growing, are ones that are sticking around for a very long time. That's great to us. So yeah, so good news really for us. We keep trucking along, and we'll give you the wrestling news of the week and the Raw recap. We break down every segment of Raw. And a little bit of TNA news as well, for anyone that's obviously tracked what we do before. Matt reviews NXT whenever it's available over here. The network's kind of messed up the...
the network's ruined that for me.
Yeah. And I catch TNA, and for anyone that knows the last couple of episodes, TNA hasn't exactly been on the best of runs. But anyway, we'll get started anyway. We'll talk about TNA when their time comes. Mm-hmm. Let's get into that wrestling news of the week. WWE, this is the big news, announced a horde of releases, 9 in total from the company. They announced 8, and then a couple of, I think it was about an hour or 2 hours after their initial 8, they released another. And that is, as we said before, our impromptu topic of the week. A lot of people are talking about their releases. A lot of people are worried about being released in the future, in the next couple of weeks. Apparently this is a time that when people get released, it's paranoia time, that people get taken out of their contracts and stuff.
It's sort of definitely that sort of moment. It's like, have they got a story? I hope they've got a story for me. I hope they've got a story for me. You're gone. Damn it.
That's it. One great comment I did see was TNA is going to have a lot of new world champions very soon. Seems like a given. You get released from WWE and you're the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
Dixie Carter's eyes lit up. It's like, talent.
Jackpot, baby. Cha-ching. If they have the money to hire these people, of course, which obviously we'll get into that in a minute. But this is the start of our mini topic this week. I say topic, but mini Superstar Spotlights we're doing this week. We're going to talk in a brief section about each wrestler, whether they should have been released, and whether it's a big mistake for letting them go, and what they're probably best known for during their tenure with WWE. And there's a few surprises here. The first being the streak of 7 years, 30 days. JTG has finally been released from WWE.
That's it.
You would have heard his intro music at the start of the podcast. And it does feel like this is like, in a weird way, an end of an era, because we said this a couple of episodes. We thought that maybe they just forgot about the guy, but obviously they didn't. There was a
I saw a lovely tweet from him. It's like, really shouldn't have picked up my phone.
Yeah.
I was like, love it.
Imagine if he hadn't picked up his phone, he might have not have got the message, and maybe he would have still been with the company. They just would have left him.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We'll catch
Otherwise,
you
he'd
next
have
time.
done what?
Yeah.
Just not like he turns up every night.
Yeah. I mean, the whole joke around JTG is that obviously he was prominent when he was part of the Crime Time tag team with Shad Gaspard, or Shad as he was better known. And they looked like they were going to be tag team champions, but it never really came around for them. They were involved in a few, storylines. Probably the biggest for them was the breakup of their tag team. But as soon as their tag team broke up, I mean, this is years ago now. JTG was nowhere to be seen, and he rarely even shows up on places that Zack Ryder does, like Superstars or.
Zack Ryder's been on Raw twice in a month.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, JTG wishes he gets the airtime that Zack Ryder gets. But yeah, he's been non-existent for so long, and we've been wondering. I mean, we haven't seen a match with JTG in for years, so we're wondering why he was still in the company. He obviously didn't have.
It's on all formats as well. Like, he's not even like, I haven't seen Tyson Kidd in a while. Where he's on NXT, and it's the same thing we said for a few people.
Yeah, a few people you see. I mean, like all the other releases, you'd have seen them in a few other matches in other places, and they had their other reasons for like injury, or maybe they got a few wellness policy violation issues. But JTG is the one odd man out. There was nothing wrong with this guy. He could have wrestled. They just had nothing for him, and they chose not to use him for years and years and years. And the website that also had the amount of time that he was hired for crashed upon his release, because
I loved hearing that. It's like people, sort of the amount of people just heading straight for the website just to go no.
So yeah, I don't know where JTG will go from here. A lot of other people have said they could probably get picked up from TNA and join MVP's stable, which I thought was quite hilarious and not really out of the realm of possibility, really.
Anything's in the realm of possibility when it comes to TNA purchases.
Yeah, exactly.
But it wouldn't be until September.
Yes, that's the big thing about all this. Only one of these releases can actually join any company that they want now. But funny enough, it's not a wrestler. That would be Teddy Long, which we're going to talk about now.
Yeah.
His contract expired rather than being released, so he doesn't have a no-compete clause. But the rest of them cannot...
he competed, but there we go.
Yeah. No, all the others can't sign with another company, or... I think they could sign, they just can't wrestle for another company for 90 days. So, we won't be seeing these guys around until the latter part of the year, and that may be too late. TNA already has huge financial problems. So, out of a few of these, I think they may pick some of them up. I don't think JTG will be one of them.
For a company that has huge financial problems, I don't think they'll be in a position to be picking up superstars.
I think
fresh off WWE.
I think they'll pick up one or two out of this list. JTG isn't one of them.
No?
Personally, I don't think JTG will get picked up. He's just been out of the limelight for so long. He's got no profile. The only reason why people know him is because they're shocked that he was still with the company for that long, and that's not exactly a great tag to have on top of you for all that time.
Yeah, the one who avoided getting fired.
Yeah, exactly. He was very lucky, shall we say, to be in his contract for that length of time when he achieved so little in the company.
Sure.
He might actually have to go and wrestle now, which is, I think, going to be quite odd for JTG. Or maybe he'll go back to Brooklyn. Maybe we don't know. We'll see what happens with JTG. Next one was a bit of a shock. 3MB is dead.
Yeah.
I put this down to the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. broke up, and 3MB's ultimate goal was to break up the S.H.I.E.L.D. so all of them can now disband. Their objective is complete. No, of course I'm joking. First of which, obviously, is a bit of a sore subject with us. Drew McIntyre. Was released from the company. This is a guy that we were we like Drew McIntyre a lot. There's a lot of stuff you
even from day one, and even through 3MB, we've always been like, if there's any one person who's like really behind his character, it's Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, he was doing everything he could, and I think he got I mean, if you don't know why he was put in this situation, you can point back to his ex-wife, Taryn Terrell, who they got in a fight. It got a bit of negative publicity for WWE, and she was fired. And Drew was left behind, and
To take the fall.
Yeah, and he never really recovered from this. WWE never looked at him as the chosen one from there on out, and to be honest, he was a little bit on the slide even then. But when you look at the talent that they're pushing at the moment, you've got Sheamus as a champion, you've got Barrett as a champion. Drew McIntyre has had phenomenal matches with both those guys outside of WWE. So you could have easily had matches of the week with Drew McIntyre against Barrett or Sheamus or people that he's wrestled beforehand to get into that position. But WWE decided to put him where he couldn't be anything more than a band member for 3MB. As soon as they put him in that role and they made him lose to El Torito,
Yeah.
I think he was done at that point. There was no coming back if there was any chance of that. And would you agree? Is it a bit of a sore subject for you, this one? Out of all of the releases, this is probably...
This one hurts the most. Yeah. I think that one's safe to say. It's the potential, and especially considering, I mean, as you said, it was sort of like a bad situation left behind from a very messy breakup.
Yeah.
But for someone that was actually coming in sort of personally backed by Vince McMahon sort of thing, and it's like, and then suddenly it's like, nah, gone.
Yeah. It was like...
not even a moment's notice, just gone. Like Jinder Mahal, I don't care, I'll hinder Jinder.
Yeah. It's like someone clicked their fingers and they decided, nah, Drew's done.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll just waste time with this guy. Now, this is one guy that I absolutely believe that TNA would be stupid not to snap up, because he's not gonna ask you for buckets and buckets of cash. He's not in a position to.
Just the chance to wrestle.
Yeah, he's gonna go there, and if you give him the same gimmick that he had before he got put into that, and give him a limelight, he might do good business for you. So I would say that the problem is with that as well with TNA is that they tend not to let people wrestle in our wrestling show. So, that could be an issue there. But that's a completely different subject. But if I were TNA, out of all the releases, Drew McIntyre would be one that I'd be looking at very, very interestingly. There is another one, which might surprise you. We'll go. Is there any more that you want to say about Drew anyway? Because, like I said, that's the one that hurts.
I'd rather not.
Yeah. Talking of hindering Jinder, he was also released from the company. Heath Slater is now a one-man band again.
Yep.
Now, this one, it doesn't hurt as much. Although I thought that Jinder, he kind of gave it his all. You could tell even in the comedy sections. He was all up for it, you could tell. All I can get out of my head with him was that little segment that they did where they didn't realise they were on camera, and Jinder just looks like he's just got the funniest expression on his face. But the guy never improved in the ring, and that was his issue. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it was from sort of day one of Jinder Mahal actually first turning up. Loads of people would just look at him and sort of speculate it's like he's greener than goose shit.
Yeah.
And it showed, unfortunately, and he didn't sort of stand up to par with sort of the other talent.
No, he didn't. He never really got there, did he? I mean, part of the reason of maybe putting him in a group with Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater is that those guys can put on a decent match, so it puts less stress on Jinder. And he was never put in a position then where his lack of wrestling experience was going to catch up to him at that point.
I mean, wasn't he brought in to feud with Khali or something?
Yeah, if you remember, his initial storyline was that he had some dirt on Khali or something, so he basically blackmailed Khali into joining him for the Indian superpower sort of thing, and then they broke up, and then Great Khali did his business, and Jinder was obviously out of...
Yeah, well, he used to come out and his turban was in this glass case.
Yes,
that's it.
Right.
It's been so long, I can barely remember. All that I cared so little.
Yeah, it wasn't a great storyline, really. It was quite boring, but but to be honest, though, I remember Jinder mostly for his 3MB stuff, and like I said, in terms of comedy, he gave it his all, and he was...
don't forget, he's the funny one.
He's the funny one, yeah. I'd always remember him for that, so fair enough. But I just think that he's a guy that you probably should have sent back down NXT, give him some time down there, rather than keep him stagnant on the main roster. But maybe he just never really got to that point. They thought, well, you look at all the wrestling talent we've got on NXT, he just isn't up to scratch with even those guys, so... there's not really much. And
that was one thing. That was one thing on Raw that we'll talk about later. But I was sort of like, potential.
So, Axana is the next release. I completely agree with this, to be honest.
I could not care any. I can't care any. I can't find a care for this one.
I think Axana signed her death wish when she injured Naomi before the lead up to WrestleMania, and Naomi had to have that eye patch. on that really awkward elbow drop to the back of the head, which like damaged her orbital socket, which sounds nasty, and it was. I think she signed her release warrant pretty much then. I think that pretty much had her made.
I don't know. I think she signed her. Yeah, exactly. Sort of just signed her release warrant with the fact that she wasn't very good.
Yeah, she wasn't a good wrestler. She wasn't very good on terms of being backstage. All the times that she had stuff going on with Teddy Long and being his temptress wasn't exactly entertaining. That lasted for fucking years. It seemed like that anyway. But yeah, another one. Never.
But there's
really
that,
improved.
or it's also the fact that all she would do is like, my new boyfriend Cesaro will speak to you in 5 different languages.
Yeah, and they decided to split them up rather quickly, didn't they? Really. So.
That's it. But there's only one slight problem. Who will be my busty slutty one?
I'm sure they'll find one soon.
WWE.
But yeah, she had a little bit of a memorable segment on Raw, so we'll talk about that in a interesting fashion on her farewell address. Well, we'll see that.
Quite a lot of people got beat up. It's just that they were
Yeah, a
getting
lot of this
released.
list. Yeah, didn't have a great week, shall we say? Next on the list, Kurt Hawkins. This is a former tag team champion. So a little bit to be interested there. It's obviously tag team champion with Zack Ryder, and Kurt Hawkins never really got the heights that Zack Ryder got, so there is that. Yet again, another guy that, not as bad as JTG, you did see him pop up every now and then on stuff like Superstars and stuff like that, but another guy that you thought, well, he had his chance as Edge's double, essentially, then teamed up with Zack Ryder, and then they ended up here, and that's pretty much.
Well, Zack Ryder was also in the same group, wasn't he?
Yeah, they had like the two of them tag team together. That's when they won the belts. But that's as big as it ever got for Hawkins, and that was a long time ago. And he's a guy that I think he got an extra few years more than I think that maybe he should have. I don't think he was ever going anywhere. I don't think he had the intensity for it personally, and he didn't show that much, unfortunately, with Kurt Hawkins.
Oh, that's true.
Now, obviously, he didn't get much of an opportunity to show what he could do, but at the same time, I don't think his personality is up to scratch with the rest of them. That's just my opinion, but we'll go from there. But next one on the list, no more tag team matches. Holla, holla!
Yeah, no! No one-on-one with the Undertaker!
Undertaker! Yeah. Teddy Long, the long-standing GM of SmackDown and backstage romancer of Ixana, shall we say. Been involved with Booker T and stuff like that, being his lackey for a little while when he was in charge and stuff like that. He was... he actually was a referee for a little while, actually, in WWE, and then obviously he became a backstage manager. He managed a few people, and then became a more of a, I can't like to say authority figure, but yeah, probably best known for his list of catchphrases: tag team match, 1-on-1 with the Undertaker, holla holla. Now hold on a minute, players. Oh, he's got a lot of them.
So. Do you know what? There's one that I really remember, but it was never said on Raw or SmackDown or anything like that. It was actually in one of the WWE games, and it's like, hate to see you leave, love to watch you walk away. Holla, holla.
And you know what? I'm going to see it sad. Teddy Long had a slot on our intro for the podcast.
Yeah, I feel that now.
Yeah. Well, no, he's not on the new one, but it's still going to make me feel sad whenever I go back and use the old one every now and then. So, holla holla, I guess, Teddy Long. I doubt you will show up in TNA. I really doubt it.
Yeah, I think Teddy's done.
Yeah, I think Teddy's done, to be honest. You'll probably get a little bit of action as a personality and something along those lines. So, another one that was a little bit surprising, actually. A guy that actually recently wrestled on NXT or the Takeover. Camacho was released.
Yeah,
that's a little bit of a shock.
Which is quite odd because Camacho's actually got quite a I would say a following, but he's got heat.
Yeah,
he's got heat in NXT.
Which I guess
like he's recently, well, as you said, on Takeover, recently feuding with Adam Rose, but then he's also he's had quite a few stories recently in NXT.
Yeah, I've heard that he came back more into sort of prevalence in NXT and was actually wrestling sort of week in, week out.
Yeah, quite regular.
Seems a bit odd that he was released. Maybe WWE thought either he doesn't have the potential. There's too, we've already got that slot filled. There could be a number of reasons why he's gone. This is what reason why I think is a little bit shocking. But you look at all the big talent that's rumored to come in. We're talking about Prince Devitt, Kenta, Kevin Steen. Guys like Camacho, unfortunately, when those guys come in, are going to be at the wayside. So, while I think it's still a shock, he was also on the fringes of NXT. So, like any new big talent coming in, it was quite likely he was going to be pushed to the side. So maybe this is an indication that they've got new guys coming into NXT, and there was just no space left for.
Well, that's it, and it kind of goes as an indicator that they've got people to come up from NXT, cutting from the actual roster itself.
Exactly, yeah. And like we said this before, WWE have a very big bloated roster, so maybe they've made this decision for the long term. But Camacho's
or maybe it's
guys...
just simply money saving after that, 340 mil loss.
Yeah. That's one thing we always talk about. This obviously they've lost a lot of money. Maybe they're trying to get rid of a few of their unneeded talent, shall we say? And unfortunately for Camacho, he never got the chance to become a needed talent. So, but. For the likes of Camacho going, even main event players can get released.
Yeah,
you like
well
this,
played.
Yeah. Brodus Clay released, and this one I'm not as shocked with, even though he has been wrestling recently. He recently wrestled for the NXT title against Adrian Neville, but got beaten. Mm-hmm. I'm not as shocked, to be honest. When this guy did his split with A-Train, or whatever they like to call him now. Because they keep changing his name, don't they? I know he was doing commentary for a little while on NXT, and they changed his name again. Because he was Sweet Tea, then Albert something, and then I don't know. So wherever he's called now, he's split. And we all thought, well, maybe Brodus Clay can go on and be a monster heel now. Maybe he can go on and start demolishing people because he's been dancing around for all this time. No, he just slipped even further down.
That's it. He became the main event player and never main evented.
Yeah, never main evented. Yeah,
of credit.
Brodus Clay is gone. This is a guy though that will probably be probably the best off out of a lot of these guys because of the measure of work he had before he got into WWE. He was a bodyguard for some top stars, so he's probably going to go straight back.
That's it. Straight back into being a bodyguard.
Yeah, and he'll probably earn more money for less work. I think probably will probably be the way about it. But yeah, he won't lose any tears about being released, I imagine. Next guy. It's probably higher than the rest of them. Evan Bourne.
Hey.
He was released. Now, this is a guy that got injured during Prevalence. He was part of that tag team Air Boom with Kofi Kingston. And
the only time that Kofi was actually creditable?
While they were doing good wrestling, I still think they had the combined personality of a wet fish. But, that's down to them.
I just enjoyed watching Evan Bourne wrestle.
Yeah. He was...
but now I've got Adrian Neville, so I don't care.
Yeah, I think Adrian Neville is... To WWE, right? I think they look at Adrian Neville and they're like, you can give us what Evan Bourne can, but you won't give us the shit for it. You won't get injured for years. You won't get caught in wellness violations, which he did twice, Evan Bourne.
Yep.
You won't give us all this backstage crap that we need to deal with. You'll just go out there and wrestle. So we'll keep you. We'll get rid of Bourne because there's no point in having the pair of you. And I honestly think that's the reason why they did it. Evan Bourne is the other guy that I think out of this list that NXT will probably have, not NXT, TNA will probably have a look at because he's got X Division written all over him.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
He screams X Division.
I can actually imagine him being signed up and winning the X Division title of Sanada in time for his Sanada to go back to Wrestle 1 in Japan.
Yeah.
There is a time that Sanada's going to have to wave goodbye to TNA. He's not exactly doing much for them at the moment, which is more TNA's fault than his. But then you've got Evan Bourne comes in, big new signing, and they'll say it's the biggest announcement in wrestling history that Evan Bourne's been signed, and all this garbage that TNA do. But yeah, I
all this garbage for TNA to blow smoke up their own ass.
Yeah, that's it. I think Evan Bourne is TNA bound. I really do. I think they'll grab him as soon as they can. Yeah. The last of the wrestling talent, Yoshitatsu, was also released. I feel a bit sad for this guy because one, I know he never really got over and he never really was in any sort of prevalence, and another guy that was just sort of forgotten, wrestling random matches every now and then and mostly live shows and stuff like this. But I know that Yoshitatsu found it a little bit hard to adapt to the American lifestyle. He obviously got in. He actually wanted to move his home to a group of Japanese wrestlers in Texas, I believe. He wanted to move there so he could, have a few people that he can congregate with and stuff like that. And WWE actually blocked his move. So maybe as soon as that happened, I think Tatsu was probably like, well, I'm not really going to...
You don't want to help me.
Yeah, I'm not going to help you, sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not going to try. Now, he obviously still wrestles, and he still wrestles to the best of his ability, but I think from that moment on, even if WWE wants to keep him, I think Tatsu probably would have been like, I'm going to leave.
Yeah. So you're going to release me, so be it.
Yeah. This guy was like, they didn't really have anything of note, unfortunately, with Tatsu, and he was a good wrestler. But he was one of these guys with WWE. If you're foreign and you don't speak English, man, you ain't never gonna get over in that company because they won't give you the chance. And Tatsu was
one of those people.
It's like Sin Cara, and they never let the guys speak English, so he ain't gonna get over. And it's WWE's booking of him that does that. And WWE don't exactly have a great track record with Japanese talent, really, do they? So it's just another. Well, you could say wasted potential because this guy could have been something. The only thing I'd say with Tatsu is that he's too much of a nice guy. You can't really put him in a.
He's all happy, smiley, yeah.
He's too much.
And the fact that he comes out to sort of like stereotypical like Japanese J-pop sort of.
Yeah. So you couldn't really put him in a rivalry where he's in such a heated fight with another person because he's just too happy. Which.
Oh, it's okay. I fought you anyway.
Yeah, he's like Evan Bourne, not Evan Bourne, sorry, Bo Dallas, but like not disingenuous.
Don't say that name.
Boshi Tatsu, you could say. So moving on. There was another release. Referee Mark Harris. I can't really say much about the guy because he's not exactly one of WWE's senior referees. So. Yeah, also
a referee. Yeah.
And let's face it, they've got referees, and they can find referees easily.
Coming out of the wild too.
Exactly.
In fact, they've got quite a few referees in NXT that I don't even recognise.
Yeah. So I don't know whether this was just them. Oh, he's a bad referee, or them. Just maybe he wanted the release or something along those lines. I don't know, but
I want more money. You're no Scott Armstrong. Bye.
What with the epic Charles Robinson run down the ramp to Ultimate Warrior's music? You have to YouTube it. It's the one.
Oh God, yeah,
that's brilliant. With that
beautiful
golden hair, yeah. So it's just some guys you think synonymous. I mean, you look at Earl Hebner, who's in TNA, and you just think you feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah, but like you've fallen from grace.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy is getting on a bit now, really. But moving on. They're the releases anyway. I talked about them in great depth in regards to all of them. I do expect maybe one or two more. I do. I think maybe in the next. I
don't think it's done.
No, I think there's a little bit more clear out to be done. There are still a few names that aren't on the roster a lot that WWE could think of getting rid of.
Like I was actually thinking whilst watching Raw, I'm shocked Zack Ryder's safe.
Yeah. And he got dicked a little bit here, so we'll keep an eye on it, and obviously if any new releases, we'll talk about them as well on the next week. And I don't want to go out and say, oh, this guy's likely to get fired and stuff like that, because I don't like doing that. We'll just report on the news and when it's there. So
that's it.
Moving on anyway to a bit more news. Ric Flair has apparently passed his medical tests. This, if you remember, we said this before, that he was due to be appearing on TV. Well, anyone that even remotely has, say, a long-term sort of storyline that's going to be going on TV, they have to be medically cleared for that. To even take little bumps here and there. Ric Flair passed those tests, so you can expect him to be on TV soon, probably after the next pay-per-view. I think probably more than likely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd say that's a good.
Yeah. If you were to randomly put him in the middle of the month, it just doesn't make much sense. And the idea, apparently, they're going to pair him up with Miz, and there's absolutely nothing going on with that guy. So we'll see how it goes. I'd still would like Flair and Ziggler, but I don't think WWE are going to give us.
I'd still prefer Flair and Ziggler.
Yeah, but alas, Case
I was, why can't the Miz be on that list?
of releases. Nah, he does all the movies and media stuff for them. Even if he's not on like TV for like a couple of months, you know that he's doing media appearances and stuff like that. He's too useful to WWE, I think.
Yeah. Just take him off the active roster.
Just leave him do that stuff away from the TV. We'll be
just make him like director of PR or something.
Yeah. I mean, that rivalry between him and Kofi Kingston was enough to make me just quit wrestling altogether. One of the most boring rivalries I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't let me tag you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you tag this time. Yay! Psych.
Yeah, essentially.
Dick.
I like the weekly face heel turns from The Miz from there on forward, and then that led up to the epic Michael Strahan promo, which is actually we reviewed on the very first episode of Let's Talk Wrestling. So, yeah, we haven't said that much good about The Miz since we've started podcasting.
Hey, we haven't said a lot about The Miz, to be fair.
Yeah, he hasn't exactly been any way prevalent. He will never get to those heights again. I firmly believe he will never be WWE champion again.
No,
so
it won't even be close.
TNA time. TNA time. TNA.
Well,
what can I say about TNA?
TNA is a wrestling organization.
TNA has a show every week that gets 1 million viewers. I'm starting to wonder why. The last 3-4 episodes have been nothing less than really catastrophic. And they've been building up. I don't know if we told you this, Matt. Obviously, you've been, we talk about it each week. The big, epic main event is supposed to be MVP against, the corrupt MVP with his new stable against Eric Young. They've been building this up all the way. This epic rivalry between these guys, and is MVP
settled at Slammiversary. Yeah.
MVP's been pulled from the TNA Slammiversary main event.
Yeah, I saw that.
So yeah. Which, to be honest, I'm not exactly that bothered about. It wasn't a great storyline anyway, and this month's recordings of shows have been piss poor. The news gets worse for TNA. They went on the road because obviously their Slammiversary happens in Dallas, I believe, so that's well away from their Orlando studios, where they have their base set up each week, and they do all their tapings. Their attendance has been shocking.
Shocking?
Yeah. Almost.
Dude, I think I've wrestled in front of more people.
Yeah. You and me, right? When we were training to be wrestlers, we wrestled a main event. We were green as shit at that time. It was the only match I ever actually wrestled at a show, and it wasn't very good. I like adding that all stuff in just before I start saying stuff like this. But as you said, we wrestled in probably about maybe 20, 30, maybe. I can't even remember roughly, but there was a crowd there, shall we say? If a little show like that with guys that have only been trained to wrestle, I mean, we only been trained to wrestle maybe a couple of months, and we weren't very good. You're better now, but obviously with my current situation. So if we could do that, and we were in a show like that, you think a show that gets the viewers that they get, that as a weekly time slot on one of the on a American channel and a British channel as well.
Well, not to mention the talent that they've got on there, which are already, a lot of them are sort of already famous before even getting to TNA.
We're talking about Samoa Joe. We're talking about Austin Aries. We're talking about guys that can wrestle.
That's it. Or even just like, if you were a big fan of Jeff Hardy back in WWE, then guess what? You can still watch Jeff Hardy wrestle.
In a weird mask, and he's demented and weird, but we won't get into that again.
He's wrestling.
Yeah. So yeah, all that going for them, and yet it looks like they can't do much better crowds than what we were doing. And this was a small local promotion in the south of England. So TNA should be ashamed of themselves. I think they have a serious marketing issue. I really do, and I think that the problem is, for any people to think about buying a ticket for TNA, they look at the show and they wonder, are we going to get an hour and a half of you guys just yapping on a mic? Because if so, I'll just watch that on TV.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go and see like half an hour of wrestling, and all these BS matches. I don't want to see that. The word is backstage as well that the wrestlers' morale because of this is very, very low. They're wondering what the future is going to be like. Their TV deal with Spike is still up in the air, which is dodgy as fuck. If they lose, I
Oh,
guarantee
if they lose Spike, TNA's done.
yeah, they're done. If they lose their TV deal, you could say goodbye to TNA because there's no way they'll get any money to stay afloat. They'll have to liquidate. That TV time is the only thing keeping them. And if anyone thinks that that's completely wrong, this has already happened before. This pattern's already happened for WCW. They lost their TV time. They dissipated. They had to. They couldn't keep it on. You actually watch what Eric Bischoff said. He tried to buy the company, and as soon as they lost that TV deal, WCW was dead.
Done.
There's no point. You need that time slot. And they are nervy. They are, and apparently the casters don't want to invest too much money in a product that they don't know whether it's going to actually stick around for too long. This is dark days for TNA. We could be witnessing the fall of them.
Oh yeah.
Very soon, and I am kind of ready for it. I haven't been watching the show for that long, but I wouldn't mind these guys going. Some of their better wrestlers getting snapped up by Ring of Honor, and then Ring of Honor getting that time slot. Give them a chance.
Yeah. I was just about to say that, actually.
Yeah. Now, I know Ring of Honor do have obligations to other TV deals, but as soon as that expires, if they've got a weekly slot on Spike, they would be stupid to pass it up because they can deliver a better product than TNA can.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got, there's nothing that TNA have got that Ring of Honor can't outdo them on. Sure, TNA have got Japanese wrestlers, but they're not using them. And Ring of Honor has some of the best Japanese wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
They have a good
Ring of Honor have a contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, which is widely regarded as one of the best and longevity terms as well in terms of pure wrestling.
Oh yeah,
and talent. Some of the talent that New Japan Pro Wrestling have is phenomenal, fantastic wrestling.
Not to mention the fact that they've got people like New Japan have AJ Styles.
Yes, exactly. And because of the working relationship between Ring of Honor and them. So it's not as if Ring of Honor can't take that now. Not to say there wouldn't be growing pains, of course. Ring of Honor wouldn't be able to take... If they take that slot from TNA, would they be able to run with the ball with it straight away? There is a chance, but there also is a chance they might stumble a few times. But that being said, I think they have better management to deal with the long-term products than TNA does. I think TNA are too worried every week what their ratings are going to be to build a 5-year plan. Which, if they had done that 5 years ago, I guarantee you there would have been...
It's not even necessarily just running a 5-year plan, at least just... If you get a decent story going, then you get people wanting to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
What TNA are trying to... I don't know if they're trying... Like, obviously, you're the one that watches TNA, but I've tried channel hop onto TNA a few times, and it can't grab me.
It's impossible to. These segments that they have are far too convoluted, far too long, far too many people coming in and getting involved. These storylines, they mesh too much with other stuff. They give you wrestlers like one of the matches for Slammiversary is Magnus against Willow. We've seen that match at least 3 times in the last month. Why would I want to see it again? You've given that match to me on free television over and over and over and over.
And why am I going to pay for it?
Yeah. Now, obviously, I don't have to pay for it over here because in England we get the pay-per-views for free. But you get my point. Even then, why would I want to watch it, even if it's free? That's the point with TNA. That's why their pay-per-view buy rates are shocking, why they're in the can, why there's no point in getting them. So it doesn't look good for them at the moment. And it's a shame because they've got talent there, and there's a lot of the talent is just severely misused. And I don't want to dig on TNA too much, and I hope that maybe next month it's a new clean slate. They can realise, okay, we've done this issue, we've done these problems, just iron them out, get a load of new storylines going forward. We can do a month of really good recorded stuff, but whether they're going to do that or not is up in air. So I think that's probably the longest we've ever had of actually before getting into our Raw break.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But
See, I thought we were saving the releases until like the end.
No, I thought we'd do them now. While it's still fresh in my mind, of course.
That's it.
The reason I say that as well is because Raw again has got severe headache from WrestleMania. They still haven't recovered, and this show was another one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of them back to back, just really, really forgettable shows, and the issue is that the pay-per-views actually have some pretty decent wrestling on them, but the actual storylines around them aren't that fantastic. And we said last week, new slate, they can go forward, they can build now towards SummerSlam. You know, they've got the money in the bank, they've got SummerSlam coming up, they can have a couple of months, plan going forward. Like they did a whole 6-month plan going from SummerSlam to WrestleMania for Daniel Bryan. Let's do some more of that, please, because that was good.
Yeah.
That had a really good payoff at the end, and while it was hard to trudge
It's good
through.
to watch.
Yeah, it was hard to, it always seemed like it was going to get there in the end, to me anyway.
Yeah.
There's none of that really from WrestleMania leading up to where we are now. So a few moments, a few moments of note during this show, and we'll go through them as well. Raw this week came from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yep.
So as far as I know, I'm not too up on my American sports teams, but not exactly any fresh bait for them this week to make any sports references, and there weren't any. So from the constant references that the Indiana Pacers got last week, back-to-back promos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is just horrible booking. But anyway, to start off the show was a match of Great Report. No, of course it wasn't. It was the Authority coming out. They started the show, and they announced finally that Daniel Bryan is being stripped of the WWE title.
Even though apparently Daniel Bryan doesn't know about it. But what's hanging above the ring? The titles.
The belts, yeah, it does seem a little bit odd.
Yes, because Daniel Bryan doesn't know where they've gone.
Daniel Bryan apparently is at home and hearing this news for the first time, which they built to. They said that over and over again. I wonder how Daniel Bryan's feeling. Well, his title's above the ring, so obviously he must have known something. Or maybe he just felt happy after all this time just to give Steph the belts. He wasn't really being stripped of it.
Fine, just shut up.
Yeah. So yeah, the only issue with it, we said that Bryan should be stripped of the belt if he's unable to compete for a long-term time, and obviously it's been announced that he isn't being cleared to compete. What the news on that as well? Apparently he's not actually getting better; he's getting worse. So news for Bryan is not exactly looking great. But yeah, we agree with the idea. The problem is, everyone after the ending of last week's Raw, which was Seth Rollins turning on the Shield, they decided to announce that that Bryan was being stripped of the title as the first thing, and it was almost like you could hear the air come out of the balloon, sort of thing. That the crowd were.
It was definitely much a this is not what we care for.
Yeah. And I think the crowd were more sort of deflated rather than angry about it. So there wasn't as much of a response. I think this announcement should have taken place at the end of the show. So that way, it doesn't matter then if the crowd feel deflated out of the news because you're not doing anything else. That's the end of the show. That's fine. And I thought the segment was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Between them. I think... I don't know whether you agree with this. After what happened last week, I think that Seth Rollins should have been the man to open up the show. He comes out and he cuts a very passionate promo about what he did last week, and why he did it. Seth Rollins is the man of the hour. You need to cast a spotlight on him before that chance fades.
Definitely.
And Seth Rollins, at the moment, Seth Rollins is at the forefront. Everyone wants to know why he turned on the Shield. That's the whole thing about it.
Yeah.
And it's enthralling. The ending of last week was pretty interesting. Breaking up with the Shield. Why did he do it? But they chose not to have him come out, so they wanted to drag out the fans for it. But I think you should have done it first, personally. Triple H announced anyway that the Wyatts and the rest of the Shield would wrestle later on in the main event, and they would be able to choose who their partner is. And listed all the way throughout this promo were the words "adapt or perish" probably half a bazillion times.
Yeah.
I was going to sleep saying adapt or perish because I thought
it's all those like
and also just to say, last week I was very tired this week. I don't know if you can already hear it. I'm not as tired this week, so there we are. So yeah, obviously last week, adapt or perish just seems to be the new Triple H buzzword. And maybe we're gonna have to try next week and see how many times adapt or perish is referenced, and if it's maybe referenced more than the words WWE Network. That might be interesting.
I'm not turning it into a drinking game like we did at WWE Network.
You won't even make it to the podcast next week.
Yeah, that's it.
You'll be out.
I will be. I'll just have to be like from a laptop, getting my stomach pumped.
And exactly. You'll just finish watching the show, and you're just going to be drunk on the podcast, which I imagine will be entertaining.
All that.
Fuck you, Triple H. You took the belt off Bryan.
I wanted the title.
So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this promo, and I think that the placement of it was odd. I think you should have had Rollins come out first. This could have waited till the end.
Oh yeah,
and then.
But I guess it added to sort of what the qualification matches were all about.
Yeah, but they already had one of the qualifiers anyway, so I mean, it still gives some meaning to the matches, and I don't think having it, oh, now it's for the belt, gives it much extra. But I do know what you're saying. That's, obviously they wrote a script and they thought, oh wait, we can't have these qualifying matches without actually announcing that it's for the belt now.
Yeah, what's it for?
Yeah, for the Money in the Bank briefcase without that. But so, yeah, wasn't too happy with the start of the show. And whenever the Authority come out to open the show, 8 times out of 10, it's not exactly going to be something of great prevalence. So that's the best we can say about that. Sheamus against Barrett was the starter match for the show, and this was in a WWE World Heavyweight Championship qualifier for the Money in the Bank ladder match at Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
There we go.
That's a bit of a mouthful.
Feel better for that?
Yeah. So
take a breather.
Yep. So I thought this was a decent enough match from these guys, especially as an opener match. It got the crowd back into the show, which I think was a pretty good feat considering all of them were pretty deflated after hearing the news of Bryan being stripped of the belt. Sheamus gets the win with bro kick, a random bro kick out of nowhere. Now, I don't think anyone gives a rat's ass that Sheamus is in that match. I think Barrett is getting cheered like he's a face, and people want him to be involved.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Why not go for him? Why not go for Barrett? Personally,
and why would WWE do what we want them to do?
Yeah, exactly, isn't it really? I mean, you look at Sheamus, right? You know he's not. I'm going to tell you outright now. Sheamus is not winning at Money in the Bank. He's not going to be your new champion.
No.
He's not going to be the extra member of Evolution, which we thought maybe is where he's going. May give him some purpose, some direction. They have no plans for Sheamus, and that hasn't changed. He's going to be there just to be there. He was at the Elimination Chamber match, I think, wasn't he? Or I don't know. I'm pretty sure he was. But in any of these matches that have groups there, he's not going to win it. He's there to be there. So that's the issue with Sheamus. They've got absolutely no plans for him. So why would you put him over this match over Barrett? That's the only thing I would say.
The only thing is, I've been hearing rumours that there will be 2 Money in the Bank matches. One of which will be for the title, the second of which will be for the briefcase.
If they do that, though, it's going to make people think that what's the point in winning sort of match? I know, obviously, winning the belt is bigger and better than winning the briefcase, so to speak. But
definitely.
We'll see how they go with that anyway. But maybe they might put the losers of these matches in a secondary one or something along those lines. 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches, I can't really argue as long as they're both done differently and well.
Oh yeah.
You look at some of the people that have lost their qualifying matches, the likes of Ziggler, Barrett. These guys can pull off a good ladder match if they're given the chance. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
Let's hope that rumor turns out right for you. Bray Wyatt is back, and he is to remind us that Wyatts did in fact beat the Shield. They did during their big match they had at Elimination Chamber. The first match that me and Matt were just uber hot on. We were so happy about that match. We actually watched that together.
That's the one. It's just even the fact that we were uber hot for it. It was also just the simple fact we were just like, it's starting. Like proper kid in the candy store, just at the sheer concept of this match.
Yeah. This is like the match that every fan wanted, Shield against Wyatts, and they actually gave it to us. That's what's so weird. It's like it was a dream match, and we
got what we would get. Yeah, exactly. We got what we wanted.
Yeah. Now, during this promo, which I think was good, and it's good to see him back, I had a sudden thought. And this is compounded even with the fact that I've heard what's happened on SmackDown. Why not, with the new plan, make Bray Wyatt your new WWE champion? The reason I say that, right, is that, listen, Bryan will come back and you know he's going to get a title shot when he gets back. Somehow he'll get a title shot.
Yeah.
Why not come back and have go against a guy that he's got history with, recent history, as in this year, and a guy... who, one of the only guys on the roster that Daniel Bryan as a character doesn't have 100% confidence that he can actually beat him.
That's true.
Bray Wyatt beat...
Well, it's the one thing is like the fact that, Bray Wyatt was just like, I want to, burn this world down and rebuild it in my own image. And it's like, well, what better way to do that than be the champion?
Exactly. And that way you've got this guy who seems to be on the precipice of achieving what he does, and you give him the storyline, but do that he had with John Cena, but do it better with Daniel Bryan, which you can do. And Daniel Bryan comes back, he's the hero, he's the one that needs to save us and become champion again against this monster who looks like he's going to take over everything. And that way they've got previous history, you play off that, you say that Bray Wyatt, he can cut a brilliant promo against Bryan saying, "We fought before, Bryan, and I beat you. You know you can't beat me. You sucker punched me, and you joined my family, and you stabbed me in the back, and even then you couldn't beat me. So there's no way this is going to happen, and it will be a match I would be very interested to see."
That's it. Like, you've always lost to me, Brian.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And it's yeah,
it works. To me,
I'm siding with your way of thinking.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah. Now, whether they go for it or not, and I know from SmackDown he won a match. He's in that match. That's what makes me think. That makes me think. It twigs for me. Maybe. God forbid they give the title back to Randy Orton. Jesus Christ. Hopefully they don't do that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I don't think they will. I think the Evolution Shield storyline isn't over yet.
No, they're going to continue with that.
To get the title involved with it would be stupid.
Yes. No, I fully agree with you. There's nothing to be gained from giving the titles back to Orton. And you look at the field, Cesaro, I don't think he's ready for the belts, personally.
No.
Not where he is at the moment. Sheamus isn't getting the belts. That isn't happening.
He has a belt.
Yeah. I can't remember who else is in that match, but wow, Wyatt is the
Del Rio.
They're not giving the belts to Del Rio. We know that. He's not getting the belts. So you look to it, and suddenly you start knocking all these guys down, and you've got reasons for them not being champion, and Wyatt's that last guy standing. You think, wow.
Yeah, and he looks pretty good from where we're standing.
Exactly. He was coming up saying he was reborn and stuff like this. Now, we'll talk a little bit more because he had something to do later on, but it's apparent rebirth and stuff that apparently he was going through. There was no reference of that this week, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Rusev had a match, and it's one of those moments where...
Say he had a match.
Yeah, where you see who he's going against and you know exactly what's going to happen. I'm sure that during the conversation we're about to have this match, we probably have already gone over the length of the match itself, so...
yeah, I think already we've spoken more.
Lana came out anyway in more interesting fashion. She compared the pictures of Obama working out and Putin.
I noticed. The thing is, I hadn't seen that video.
It did. I thought it was an impersonator, but apparently that's legit. So that is quite funny, I have to admit. The only thing I'd say though, they were showing like topless pictures of Putin riding a horse. Thank God they didn't show any workout pictures of David Cameron. That would have been offensive. Yeah. Or Gordon Brown when he was in control. Man, that would have been... that's an instant way to get some heel heat, to show some footage of him working out. So if you don't know, for our American listeners, David Cameron is the Prime Minister of England. So there you are.
He's a bit of a dick.
Yeah. just Google him. You'll realise why we're saying what we're saying. Yeah, this whole stuff with Lana, though, is getting a little bit old. I actually enjoyed it when they first came out, but they don't seem to have like any long-term plan with Rusev. They got to put in some sort of program.
The medal and the flag is a bit...
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I saw, it's a way to get easy heat, and easy heat is still heat, so that's fine. But now it's a little bit like you're kind of running over the same horse over and over again. There's no point to it now. You need to put him in a rivalry. And we thought Big E was going to be that rivalry, and obviously that didn't happen. They need to put him in some long-term rivalry, or like I said, give him the US belt, or maybe rival with Sheamus. Sheamus would be a good person for him to rival with, or something along those lines. So, but we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, Zack Ryder essentially got eaten by Rusev.
Yep.
That'll be more sort of a descriptive nature of the match. Ryder took a nasty kick to the head during this. It looked brilliant from Rusev's point of view. But yeah, the match didn't last that long. And as the majority of Rusev matches are going.
That's it. And so the trend continues.
So, spin the wheel and you'll find out who Goldust's new partner is. It's the new game show, essentially.
Yep.
Ryback against Goldust and R-Truth. He was the tag team partner of this show. Truth is, we're probably going to see a lot more of these matches.
Truth is.
Yeah, you get it. Get a lot more of these matches before either Cody or Goldust snap and they end up rivaling with each other. I would like our fans to label who you think is the funniest partner in the comments section below. And they have to be on the current roster. So before you,
I'm kind of thinking. I'm curious who this next person is.
oh, they've got you and they hooked you with this story.
I am. It's like someone you've never known, someone you've never sort of known before, who can make, you know. Oh, so of like.
I know who it is.
Who?
CM Punk is returning.
Oh, okay.
Obviously.
It's Punk teaming with Goldust.
Yes, that's his return. Yeah. If that's
yeah.
a reference to everyone saying, "Oh, I sneezed," therefore CM Punk is obviously returning.
So.
Get it real with it, guys. Unfortunately, if he was going to return, he would have done it by now. CM Punk is not coming back.
And to be perfectly honest, he has literally just got married. Cut him some slack.
Yeah. Well, that's still a rumor, so that's the reason why it wasn't.
No.
Is it legit? Is it legit?
Yeah, I think it's legit now.
Oh wow, you're putting your reputation as a podcaster on the line. I'll check that out afterwards.
It's better than a Dave Meltzer.
Yeah. But Dave Meltzer doesn't get it wrong all the time. He just got it really
drastically
badly wrong one
time.
So I thought it was quite funny in this match. Obviously, Axel got the win, but Axel tried to pull the tights of Goldust. I think you'd think he's wrestled Goldust enough to know that the guy wears a full body suit. He can't pull his tights.
Tights? What tights?
Yeah. I just thought that was a bit funny. Like, the guy's wearing a full body suit. He's never worn anything but a full body suit. You've wrestled him so many times. Come on. But,
not to mention, Christ, even your dad's wrestled him.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. Not exactly ideal. But, yeah, so there was a backstage promo, I'll reference it now anyway, that Cody essentially says he's continuing his horrible turn as an agent. I think this could be actually a new gimmick for him. Do you think? Like, he could be the worst manager in history.
Suddenly just imagine him, he just comes down in, like, sunglasses and he's on the phone sort of thing. Yeah. It's like, you take care of that. Yeah. I've got to get it booked in for 9 o'clock Monday.
And he keeps like booking really bad matches. So, like, he's teaming, like, maybe he like manages, like, I don't know, Zack Ryder, and he's like, I've got a perfect match for you tonight against John Cena. It's like, yeah. Well, you're not going to win that one.
That's it. It's the main event. That's what you wanted, isn't it? See, I told you, stick with Cody.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe a new gimmick for Cody, but
it just comes out Cody's clients.
Yeah, Cody's clients, and he has all the worst wrestlers on the roster.
He has the little black book.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently he's found another partner for Goldust, one that will magnify his magnificence. So, yeah, that.
Yeah.
I imagine that Goldust will be teaming up with Sin Cara again, maybe. I don't know. It's just garbage.
But we've not come across this one before. Yeah. He's new.
Interesting.
Ooh,
yeah, we could be seeing maybe we might see one of the NXT guys come up. That might be interesting.
See, that's what I was thinking, and that's what I'd like.
Yeah. He would get a win with like someone like Sami Zayn or Adrian Neville, and that way you're like, oh wow, this guy can actually win a match with Goldust against Ryback. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes from there.
And to be perfectly honest, that would be a good start to your career.
It doesn't mean that they have to come straight onto the main roster. It's a quick appearance that they can have and then go back to NXT for a while. But it gets their name in the limelight. Sami Zayn will probably be the best guy to do that with, I think.
You go with Zayn?
I go with Zayn.
Okay.
Next, anyway, backstage, Layla is having her makeup done, and she's talking about how awesome it is to kiss Fandango.
I'll leave that to her.
Yeah, in great vivid detail. And she starts bitching about Summer Rae. Summer Rae comes up from behind and says, "You got milk?" or whatever. She and dunks white substance all over Layla. So, as you can imagine, there was a few interesting memes made around that, with Layla with a white substance all over her face. But yeah, she smashed her face against the makeup section. I'm guessing, as we said, this is probably building up a match between these two eventually. The match will probably be garbage, but they're setting up a match between the two.
Layla can wrestle.
They both can wrestle, but whether WWE are going to let them
but this is WWE. They won't give us wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I was thinking, because there was like, you had a match with, like, I'll mention it now. I was gonna avoid it, but I'll mention it now.
Yeah.
But, like, we had Bo Dallas and Xavier Woods, and I was thinking to myself, these guys can actually go.
Yeah.
Could WWE be giving us, like, wrestling? No.
No, denied. Yeah, I think it's the same with these guys. It doesn't matter even if they have a rivalry; it won't last that long. And when it eventually has its apex, you're probably going to get a less than 3-minute match. There's the harsh reality of it, unfortunately. That's
Yeah.
where it goes. But you know what? It makes a difference from having it all about. At least it's actually storylines built from WWE television, not Total Divas garbage. So maybe
That's true.
we'll cut it a little bit of slack.
Okay, yeah.
For what I've heard from the week anyway, Layla basically did the same thing back to Summer Rae, and it was yet another white substance picture. And,
Hey, there's enough of Summer Rae when she was licking her lip.
yeah, so
I don't think we need that anymore, young lady.
naughty, naughty. Shame on you, for shame. 3MB are out for their last appearance on Raw.
As 3MB, yeah.
They went out fighting. They called out the Shield. And the Shield, even with a man down, essentially just annihilates 3MB. So that's the last you'll see of them. 3-man band are gone. So, sad times. Now, one thing that I was thinking about 3MB is that why would the Shield be scared of a faction that was decimated by a little person who thinks he's a bull?
Yeah, fair point.
So, yeah, I don't know what 3MB were thinking here. But intelligence hasn't exactly been their character's strong suit, so there we are.
What WWE created or 3MB?
Yeah. Roman Reigns must have broken the world record for growing a full beard in under a week. He was clean shaven last week, and now he's sporting the full beard.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting. Ambrose decides to kick, the whole show up the arse and decides to do a really, really, really good promo.
Oh, yeah.
Slamming Seth Rollins.
But,
awesome
that's
stuff.
the one thing, it's just like, and like Rollins mentions like the dementedness sort of thing, where it's like, it was so true, and it's like, but it'll be round here by your ear, and I say that because you'll only have one left.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll tear your hair out and feed it to you.
Yeah.
Like,
it was intense, man. His promo was brilliant. I loved every second of his promo. More of that.
I was eagerly watching. I was like, yes.
Yeah. His delivery of it is fantastic. Now, Reigns decided that he was going to cut his own promo. It was decent, but you can't really follow up to that. You can't. It wasn't as good. And Reigns still needs a little bit of work, but he's way better than he was. So, and like I said, it was all right, his promo. But when you put it next to what Ambrose,
he said pissing.
Yeah. So you get a little bit more easier on their swear words. They say bitch all the time now. Ooh.
Oh yeah, bitch is a regular thing now.
Yeah. So maybe piss is going to be their next go-to word. They really I tell you what, they really, as a pair, really put over how much they really want to kick Evolution's ass, and Seth Rollins, of course.
Again,
better than I think they've done since their rivalry began. I really, really enjoyed this promo from these guys. Yeah, and like I said, if you give that to us each week from Ambrose, man, that was good stuff. I really enjoyed that, and I like the way that the actual presentation, they really zoomed in on each guy's face, so you could get the total emotion of what they were saying out. They didn't do it from the side. They didn't do it. It was smack bang. They weren't afraid to put these guys on the full screen and let them do.
Oh yeah.
So that was good.
This is it. Look at them. Look at their anger.
Yeah. Which, if their promo was bad, it would have amplified how bad it was, but it was good and amplified how good it was, so that's fine. Oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. The Usos against Fandango.
Yes.
And Sandow. I've got an absolute bombshell for you, Matt. Bombshell. Are you ready for a little bit of truth here?
I don't want the truth.
I've realised what Damien Sandow is doing, and he's a genius. Legitimately, he's a genius. With all the releases going this week, he realises that he needs to start practicing his future endeavoured career track while he's in WWE.
Of dancing?
Yeah.
Or basketball?
Yeah, exactly. He's trying them out. Yeah. Seeing what works, and if anything kicks off, and that way he can put all this stuff on his resume. How many times have you danced on TV? None.
Yeah.
No, Damien Sandow's done that. There you go. So you can expect him to be paired up with the Lord of the Dance, and stuff like that, Truth be told, obviously,
it's painful.
It's painful. Yeah, the whole thing is really bad. For a guy that came in with a gimmick of being super intelligent, he sure is acting very retarded. That's the only thing I can say about it. This match was garbage, especially for an Usos match. you know, they've been having good matches, and this was just absolute garbage. There was no reason for Fandango to be out there either. It was just like randomly thrown together.
Yeah.
And it's a shame actually.
It's like,
that-
hey, have a look at slutty Layla
yeah, with with her hair,
with
all
her wet hair and creamy face.
Yeah. But it's a shame that whole thing with Layla and the madness of Sandow overshadows the fact that the Usos are very good tag team wrestlers.
Yeah.
That's the shame of it. And it wasn't funny. It wasn't as if, oh wow, this is quite funny and the Usos are there. It's like, wow, this is really bad, and yet you're presenting this more than your tag team champions.
Or presenting more that you got Damien Sandow in a onesie.
Yeah. Who I thought came out nude first. I thought, oh my god, they're going to let him streak. But thankfully, my eyes deceived me. So here we are. Moving on, as you said, from the match earlier on, Xavier Woods against the inspirational Bo Dallas, as they're calling him now. Woods is, I don't know if you've noticed this, Woods no longer has Brodus Clay's theme song. Maybe Brodus Clay took that with him, or maybe just the Funkadactyls have that now.
Yeah. I guess you can't use it considering he's not actually associated with the Funkadactyls.
Yeah.
And without, if the Funkadactyls weren't the Funkadactyls, then they're just dancing girls.
And in all fairness, right, the lyrics to that song is "Funk is on a roll." Xavier Woods is probably the opposite of being on a roll. So, you know,
yeah. I thought you say he's the opposite of funk. It's like, dude, that's wrong. He looks like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, yeah. He's funky, but he's not on a roll, so you can't have that. You know. So, yeah, this match as well. It was a quick nothing match. As you said, these guys could probably put on a good match, but they, I'm sure they probably have put on a good match in NXT when they were down there, but. They weren't given much time here at all. And Bo Dallas's matches, they're going to keep doing this formula with it, which is fine for now, but I hope that they've got some sort of long-term plan. They are building up, apparently, that he's got a streak. He's 6-0 now, Bo Dallas, because he believed in the streak. He did cut a promo before the match as well, saying that Daniel Bryan will be able to come back as good as new if he just believes and all this stuff, but...
That's just cheap heat.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to when he finally puts the disingenuous part of that gimmick together, because you've got to do this part to set it up, and when he starts actually acting a little bit heelish every now and then, that's when this is going to start getting really interesting, his gimmick. But we'll see how we go from there. Yet again, after the match, he hugged Xavier Woods and told him that if he tries hard, he'll become a winner just like Bo. And I obviously don't think that Xavier Woods will have to do a lot of Bo-leaving if he's going to win any matches anytime soon. He'll have to... Yeah. There's no advice I can give for Xavier Woods, unfortunately. RVD against Cesaro. There's a few times that Cesaro has come out, and I have disliked Heyman's introduction for him. This is one of those weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't very strong.
Would you agree that he made it seem as if Cesaro coming out was the lesser option for Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. It was
especially
like...
considering it's just like, oh, we're going to get Brock... Oh, it's Cesaro.
Yeah, we don't want to think, oh, it's Cesaro. We want to be like, oh, it's Cesaro coming out. But if you put, like, if you're going to build up someone to say, oh, Cesaro's coming out, then you're educating a crowd that Cesaro shouldn't be something that should be...
Yeah. Just don't cheer for him. He's not Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Don't get interested in him. He's the disappointment, is Cesaro.
That's it.
I don't like the way they put that. And yet, for some reason, Cesaro decides he's going to walk as if he's in a dire need of a massive dump. Like he's got the biggest fucking constipation of his life. I don't know what the fuck he's doing with that walk.
No.
He's channeling his inner... Well, he's not even doing a Vince McMahon walk. It's just horrible. I don't know why. Why does he have to walk like that? I don't understand. I would actually say that last week we said that Raw had the opportunity to make a massive new start, but when we have matches like Cesaro against RVD, we've
again,
yeah, it kind of puts us to shame a little bit, and we've seen this match a lot. Cesaro gets the win, and this is the point in the show where I was started to waver away from things. So I did watch the entire match, and whenever I say I waver, I was still watching the match, but this is the part where I start checking my phone. I start looking to see if I've got any Facebook messages.
I get the same as you.
Yeah, that I'm just not interested, and it was lucky because if this happened earlier on in the show, then I probably would have just cut it in half and said, okay, I'll watch the next part of the week. But I endured, shall we say, and continued on. The next segment, which is the one that should have opened the show, but regardless, we got it here. Seth Rollins was being interviewed by Michael Cole. Rollins explains here that what he did was just best for business, and everything that he did to
business for himself.
Yeah, and when he said believe in the Shield, he was saying believe in Seth Rollins. I thought his promo would have been better if they actually had given him a chance to say, I don't think his reasons for betraying the Shield are actually anything good. I would have preferred him to say something along the lines of, I want to be WWE Champion, and I'm not going to wait for my Shield teammates to get there before I do, so I'm going to make the first move. That's what I would have said.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being pedantic. What do you think about it?
No, I could agree with that completely.
Yeah. It's just like,
there was just nothing, and it's just like,
yeah.
What was your reasons?
Is it really a crime for a guy want to take the first step to the next part of his career, maybe step on his brothers to do that because he has desire, because he's ambitious? I could buy that more than Triple H told me it was best for business. I don't understand that. And he was like, oh yeah, I was the one who made Evolution what it was, and it's like, okay, I it's like, didn't seem to go anywhere.
You?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, he calls out the Shield afterwards, says that he said his piece, and they wanted to come down and attack him. When they come out, the Wyatts come in and block the attack, which I thought was a bit odd, but anyway. So they get beaten down, and who comes out? The one guy that we said that we were so
the one
happy,
person I couldn't care less for.
Yeah, the one we said last week, we were happy that Bray Wyatt was so far away from Cena that he couldn't get any more damage done to him. How wrong we were! Cena comes down to save the Shield and makes Bray Wyatt look like a champ yet again. So there we are. He's hopefully this doesn't last. I don't want Bray Wyatt anywhere close to Cena. I just don't want him anywhere close to Cena.
Just done. Leave it.
So yeah, that was it for Bray Wyatt's rebirth, apparently. I know he had a segment on SmackDown, but as we said, if anything really serious is going to happen, it'll have to happen on Raw. That's their flagship show. So to a random person that just catches Raw each week, it was a little bit like, oh, what was the point of him being out last week? It makes little sense.
Yeah.
So a bit of a missed opportunity there. The stuff that he could have said in a promo would have been quite interesting to listen to. Paige against Alicia Fox to match yet again. The whole new slate thing wasn't working out. Yeah. We've seen Paige against Alicia Fox quite a few times now. At a pay-per-view, no less. Exana was at ringside for what would be her very last appearance.
For no reason
Yeah.
don't know.
Another smash and grab victory here for Paige. Instead, it's done with the Scorpion crosslock. She's got a little bit more offense in it, but let's be sure. It was a smash and grab victory. It wasn't anything along those lines. And they're doing a pretty shit job of making Paige seem like a competitor when she just keeps on pulling out random moves out of nowhere and just like rushes to get the pin, grabs her belt, and then exits the ring. It's a little bit crap, to be honest. Fox has another breakdown and aggressively feeds Exana popcorn. I think that's the only thing I can say.
Eat it, fatty! Yeah. Eat it!
So that's the last thing that Exana did on Raw, was eat popcorn. So there's that. So yeah, no more Foxana, as they were calling them. So I'm sure that Alicia Fox, she's probably going to have another match with Paige, I imagine. I don't know, but man, are they mishandling Paige or what? Oh yeah, you could have given her the belt, fair enough, but come on, you could have done better than that, surely. And it makes me worried now what they're going to do.
They could have done anything.
If she loses the belt tomorrow, there's nothing for the general wrestling fan to say, okay, she'll definitely get that back. They've booked her like a flash in the pan since she got in there.
Yeah.
Whereas they could have given her something else, and I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed with their booking of her. And she can't even rival with Emma because Emma's gone on a Australian tour to kind of do promotional work over there. So yeah, no man's land.
Well, she's recently been back on NXT.
Yeah,
she was in a 6-Diva tag match. It's just like, have you given up hope already?
Yeah, it feels that way anyway.
Oh dear.
Wasn't too long ago we were talking about Emma beating Alicia Fox, and yeah, that still wasn't a great match, but come on, we've seen what Paige and Emma can do when you give them good time. Just give them good time. We would enjoy it. Trust us, WWE, we would like it, okay? Swagger decided with Zeb Coulter that Santino was the next on the deportation list. You actually look at the list of releases. It's been a good week for Zeb Coulter. Look at Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, Axana.
That's it.
Camacho probably could be put in that list as well. Yoshitatsu.
Camacho, yeah, Yoshitatsu, that's it.
So, good week for Zeb Coulter and his We the People. I thought JBL had actually a pretty good line here. He said, "Who taught Santino English? Funaki?" And I say indeed to that. Yeah, I thought that was a brilliant little segment there for anyone who knows Funaki in his WWE days. This match was a bullshit match. It was just nothing really into it. I'm sick of these matches.
A match happened.
Yeah, there's nothing else we can really say about it except for the fact that Swagger got a win because he blocked the Cobra, so he got the win. So
yeah,
there we are. It was just a bit of random. I don't mind them trying to do something new or trying a new match, but when you don't give it any time, then how the hell are we supposed to get behind it? There's no reason for it. So
no.
There we are. It looks like Swagger is away from Adam Rose. No Adam Rose on this show at all. So I'm sure that made you quite happy there, Matt.
Yeah, I was very happy with that.
Yeah. The Cody segment was next. We've already covered that. Then we had the Authority segment backstage where they were yapping on about the usual garbage, really. Vicky Guerrero shows up and sneezes on Stephanie, and Steph says that she'll fire Vicky if she needs to.
It's a sneeze.
Jesus. I don't even know why this was added in the script. Like, why did anyone think we need a segment where Vicky sneezes on Steph? We need that.
It's like unnecessary.
Yeah. It was like, this doesn't do anything. You don't have to put over that Steph is a bitch. You've already done that. That's fine. They're not going to do anything with Vicky Guerrero, so there's no point. Are they going to make her fire Vicky Guerrero? I don't know. I don't really care. But it's just a little bit like, why? Why do you do this? There's no point. You wasted my time with this segment.
It's just stupid.
Yeah, it may have only been a minute long, but that's a minute of my life I might get back. And unfortunately, with WWE, there's a lot of time for watching some of their shows.
I just didn't see there was no purpose to it at all.
There was a lot of this show that had no purpose to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So then we had the main event: Shield and John Cena against the Wyatt family. Not nearly as good as any of the previous matches with these factions, and there's a little reason for that. It's called John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bad wrestler, Cena, but he's not good in these situations. He added very little to this match. And it wasn't really a match that I was that much involved in, shall we say. Shield get the win, though, so Harry Tuft.
That's it. They
beat the Wyatts with Cena because, Cena's involved, and of course, he has to get the win over the Wyatt family. And like I said, it's not really a great match, and I think it topped off a pretty poor show, in my opinion. Not very much good wrestling, a lot of BS matches, a lot of random nonsense, some directions which I didn't agree with, and I don't like being negative about wrestling. In fact, here at the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, we're way more positive than you'll find a lot of the other podcasts are. We try and find reasons why you want to watch these shows, but even we're struggling a little bit at this point. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah.
This was kind of a really difficult Raw.
Yeah. It was difficult.
To be honest, it's sort of like, what's the purpose? Nah, just because we can. Like, why are we having this match? Because we can.
Yeah.
Oh.
3-hour syndrome, I call that. You don't have enough ideas to fill it, and the problem is you think that you do, and you're adding in all these random stuff. And you think with a team of writers they could come up with something a little bit different, but we know better than that by now, and we don't like to beat the same horse with a stick. We've said this before, and so many other people, so if you're a wrestling fan, you know this. We don't have to tell you that some of their storylines are absolutely garbage, and they sometimes have no clue. But not a great week, unfortunately, and mediocre Raws. Back to back seems to be happening. There's a hangover from WrestleMania, and it needs to stop. It really does. They need to get some sort of direction and go on from there. And it looks like Daniel. The whole problems with Daniel Bryan, his injury, his father passing away, his honeymoon at the time, the really bad storylines he's been stuck in.
Gosh, everything's getting on top.
Yeah, all that has really sort of knocked WWE back on its arse, and now they kind of don't know how to rally. So. We'll see how they go from here. We thought that they would be starting anew leading up to Money in the Bank, and in a reference they kind of are. You know, they're going to crown a new champion, but still, it just seems like they're kind of grasping at straws. They don't have plans for a lot of guys, and for at least 70% of the matches on this show, there was not a lot of reasons behind that. Actually,
no. Well, the entire show just stank of makeshift.
yeah, it did. It looked like it was thrown together at the last moment, which it probably was because they still they were holding off on Daniel Bryan's physical state, his condition. So
I don't know, it wouldn't have changed much, really. Cause it's just like, oh, well, he can't compete. All right, well, still having qualifying matches. Oh, we can't compete. Oh, well, we're still having qualifying matches.
Yeah.
It's the filler.
Yeah.
And all the filler stank.
Yeah, and it is. It's bad. It's not interesting.
I mean, the summer Ray Layla bit, yeah, that filled that was a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
And it also sort of actually carried on the story for them. And that's shocking.
Yeah, they actually got it seemed like they've got a program against each other. They've got a plan, at least, for those two girls.
Yeah.
You look at
the rest of it's just like, meh.
You look at the likes of RVD and Cesaro, who's been randomly wrestling each other the last couple of they look like they had a program with them, but they did it, and now it's like, okay, we don't have anything for you guys. You're just going to keep wrestling each other randomly.
Yeah.
You look at
for what purpose?
Yeah, you look at Swagger against Santino. What was the point there? Not really anything.
That's it. It's that whole sort of like, you know, that the 1,000 monkeys with typewriters plan. We're gonna go with that.
Yeah. Or it's the South Park thing, and we cut a head off a chicken wherever he lands on this idea circle. That's what
the idea board. Yeah.
So, yeah, it just seems like they're grasping at straws a little bit. They're doing a TNA a little bit on it, unfortunately, because TNA have been doing that for a very long time. And I would not rather the premier wrestling company in the world, you know, in terms of exposure, would do this. They've got more potential than that, but we'll see. So that's our show for the week. It feels weird to actually end at the end of the Raw recap, but as we
finish on Raw rather than on a subject.
We had a lengthy podcast regardless, so I hope you guys did enjoy that. I'm off to go watch the England World Cup match, and Matt is not as much of a bigger fan of.
I'm not.
So I hope you guys did enjoy the podcast. Like I said, we've been noticing the new subscriptions. I just noticed here that someone left a comment on our last video saying, great work. We do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And if you are new to the podcast, you know what? We hope you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it, subscribe. That way you won't miss any more episodes. We're doing extra ones. The extra episode will come out every now and then. We also do pay-per-view recaps. You don't want to miss those. They're good stuff. We let our hair down, so to speak.
Even if it is very lazy and half asleep because of the next morning.
Yeah, but you still get it. You still get it, and we're still entertaining. So for you guys. And if you want to ask any questions that might be featured on the podcast itself, then leave a question in the comment section, and that way you'll be able to hear your question be answered on air, and you can share it with all your friends and say that you are on the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Or leave us or send us a message, like I said, on YouTube if you don't want to. And like I said, if you don't want us, if you're a bit shy and you don't want your name to be read out for whatever reason, I'm like that sometimes. Then tell us you want it anonymously, and we won't reference your name. So that way you know. That's it. Either way you want to do it, we want to communicate with our fan base that is ever growing. And thank you guys as well. We've been noticing that the videos have been hitting an average of about 70 listens each time. That is really awesome. That really is. We didn't think we'd get that fan base in the first 30 episodes, which we're reaching now. We thought that we'd have to do a lot more work, but it seems it looks like things are paying off. So thank you guys. We really do appreciate it. We hope that obviously we are entertaining you. I guess that we are because you're listening, so that's always good stuff. And I think I've done enough plugging for now. I'm going to go watch a football match. Matt is going to go, I don't know, maybe sleep. I don't know. Possibly. And I hope you guys have a great week yourself. We'll be back next week to review Raw and TNA. I think Slammiversary, I think it's this week or it's next week. So
I love how you try. You can't even say TNA without laughing.
Yeah, I do TNA and kind of giggle towards the A. But yeah, and hopefully NXT, but I tried to watch it this week and it's getting a little bit tough to get over here.
Yeah,
it's unreliable, unfortunately. So we do apologise because we want to review it for you because it's awesome. NXT.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, but unfortunately. But
Forgetting what good wrestling is.
but we're procrastinating. We'll let you get on with your day. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll catch you again next week.
We'll see you soon.
Bye bye.